Hey guys, how's it going? Prometheus back here with you with the fun new series, Risk, Reward, and Fire. Today, on this beautiful Friday, what I got here for you guys. So we're going to be breaking down Bitcoin and the relationship between Bitcoin and Total 3. Total 3 being the altcoin indices. So want to share with you guys kind of how I'm looking at the market, how we're positioning around the current price action, and what to expect here moving forward. Looking here at Bitcoin on the 4 hour, locally speaking, we're going to kind of touch on what I am seeing and then how we're shaping up for potentially the next 30 days until the end of the year. So Bitcoin here, locally speaking, is really been pretty range bound for the past 30 days. We did break structure back on Sunday. We swept these lows, but this could be some form of manipulation if we're able to resolve higher. And breaking 108 to me signifies not only a break of the supply region, the value area high, but really the last line of resistance for Bitcoin before we'll see expansion higher. Like I said, though, the structure was broken on Sunday. That doesn't mean that can't be manipulation. What I want to see for it to be confirmed manipulation would be a break of 108. That to me would be a really good sign that Bitcoin is gearing up for higher. And the golden question right now is whether or not we're following indices, whether or not we're following equities, and is crypto finally going to give us that move that we've all been looking for, really ever since the lows at 74K. So looking at this supply region, we're kind of bumping our heads up into. We had a previous supply region at 106. We broke above it. We back tested it. It's acting as support now until proven otherwise. If you do lose 106, backfill the inefficiency down to 1025 as a structural retest. And definitely want to see that region hold. Again, the RSI on the 4 hour looking a little bit overheated here, potentially rolling over. Move back down into 102 would allow for those oscillators to reset, and then maybe allow us to go for new all-time highs after that. But until then, we're above 106. We continue to bump our heads in between 106 and 108. We're just bouncing around in that little range. The past 3 days have been a little bit of a nothing burger, but ultimately here speaking, when we do see that form of price compression, expecting a big move out of it is, most certainly going to happen, right? So kind of keep my eyes on that here locally. But if we do see a break of 108, you're probably asking, where am I targeting next? I am targeting 129K on Bitcoin, right? High time frame target. And, if we do see that pullback here, potentially we see, these targets more towards the end of the year, potentially the end of Q3, beginning of Q4. But, it's an inevitability at this point, really, that those levels are our high time frame targets to really be paying attention to. You might be asking yourself, or you might be asking, where did you pull this range from? Or where did you get this level from? This 1618. This is our daily range. This is our 1618 pulled off of our daily range that we've really been holding since December of last year. And again, this is a forest through the trees level. This is a high time frame target, probably a really good area to be taking profits at, and be looking for, the opportunity to be taking some of that risk off the board, shoring up maybe some cash, some stables, however you like to be, positioned in the more liquid assets that is, or be rotating some alts back into Bitcoin. But like I said, this isn't a Bitcoin only talk that we're going to be talking about here today. I do want to talk about the relationship between Bitcoin and Total 3 and why I'm really talking about Bitcoin on the lower time frames and in relation to what I'm about to show you guys. The reason why I was talking about Bitcoin on the lower time frames was for a few reasons, right? We are near all-time highs, and typically what happens is, especially what you saw at the previous range back in summer of last year, is when we enter into the upper boundaries of the range, Typically, what occurs is you have FOMO entering the markets, or a lot of market participants entering some form of FOMO, right? Some form of fear and trading essentially around that fear. And I'm going to show you guys right now today why what we really want to wait for in regards to from a positioning perspective is to wait for Bitcoin in price discovery, or at least acceptance of new all-time highs, to really be looking to position into that more risk on um, assets, tickers, whatever you want, to expect further upside in relation to alts in general, right? If we zoom back, like I said, and we look at the range, the summer range of last year, typically what occurred was people, when we would get near all-time highs without confirmation, you would typically see market behavior not only on the timeline, people's positioning on the order books, so on and so forth, where people would be piling into altcoins. Now, and they would be doing so in hopes, right, of front running the breakout of Bitcoin and new all-time highs, expecting that they're going to be missing the move to the upside if they don't position now, which what I want to show you is not how you should be looking at the markets. Really, if we zoom out on last year, Bitcoin had its high time frame range from about 50K to 73K. And every time we would get up to, those range highs, Total 3 still had yet to make a significant break of its bearish structure in its range and continued to chop and bleed sideways down. Once Bitcoin broke out and accepted and consolidated above previous all-time highs, Total 3 then was able to break its descending trend line, and Bitcoin put in a 25% move to the upside before alts even came back up to retest their previous all-time highs. That being Total 3 showing the broader altcoin market. Expecting something similar here, I think, is the most intelligent and the best way to be approaching this market. Yes, Bitcoin looks good. Yes, many participants are FOMOing into the markets right now in altcoins because in expectations of a breakout. But just like what we saw in summer of 24, if we wait for the breakout, you have not missed the meat of the move. Bitcoin breaks out, puts in a 25% move to the upside, then consolidates with bullish chop, and Total 3 goes parabolic, putting in the majority of its move in when Bitcoin was in price discovery, not before. Again, something that I'm just reiterating here for everybody listening in. Give Bitcoin the time it needs to confirm to you that it's in price discovery. And then what that allows us to do is then rotate and position accordingly. But if you do so beforehand, based off of fear, based off of not catching the bottom, whatever that may be, you are not timing the market correctly, as you may think. Bitcoin, where we're at currently, if you see us consolidate and break previous all-time highs with daily closes above 111, would then likely be in confluence with Total 3 breaking its descending trend line, and the meat of the move still having yet to happen for alts. Because many alts, from a characteristic dynamic, or for an example, if we look back to, again, the range of last year, people FOMOing in at the top in expectations of breakout, with Bitcoin actually giving confirmation, and alts significantly bleeding to the downside continually. The indice got shaved, the altcoin indice got shaved by about 30%, whereas most alts went down another 80 to 90%. Whereas if all you had to do is just wait for confirmation on Bitcoin that it's at new all-time highs, and then you're able to catch the meat of the move and remove all the headache out of it. So positioning in a manner that's based out of fear is not going to give you the proper asymmetric risk opportunity to the upside. Whereas if you just wait for confirmation of Bitcoin and new all-time highs. Because if we swing fail pattern here on Bitcoin and we come back down to, let's just say 93K, and people are foaming in at alts up here, total 3 could shave off another $100 billion in market cap pretty easily, actually. And that's not including what many alts would likely do, just from their own chart perspective alone. So just give BTC the opportunity to show the market that we're going higher and that we're at new all-time highs, and that it gives you that confirmation, and then position into beta. Right now is the opportunity where you should be looking for strong alts, where you should be looking for charts that look good, where you should be looking for narratives and thesis that you think are going to be strong when Bitcoin is in price discovery. That way you have those in your back pocket, and once you get confirmation, you immediately can shift into them, allow beta to behave as beta, capture that upside, and remove the headache of positioning too early based out of fear. Again, a little market psychology, tidbit for everybody there. You're going to see everybody on the timeline getting euphoric. Let them get euphoric. I'll just wait for confirmation. And guess what? My multiples, based off what we've seen historically, are still way there, And if we have what we've seen occur based off this previous run up back in back at the end of 24, you will not have even missed a portion of the meat of the move. So why create a headache for yourself and FOMO in? Just let Bitcoin confirm price discovery, and then you get the green light. You know what to position in. You capture the upside. You remove all the headache out of it. Simple as that. Simple as that. So with that being said, that's what I got for you guys here today. Again, it's a fun new series that we're going to be doing every week for you. Risk, Reward, and Fire will be here next Friday for you guys. I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend as always. I would love it if you liked, subscribed, and commented on the video. That being said, see you guys next week. Take care. We'll see you again.